this is Sean, and in this lesson we're going to look at minor 6 movements. This is the kind of thing I learned from Barry Harris, and it's really useful in order to get some movement into minor chords, and they also apply in other places, which we're going to have a look at. So in this lesson we'll take a look at what they do, how to learn them, where they apply, all that kind of stuff. If this is your first time here, then do please hit the like button on this video and subscribe and the notification bell. It tells you when I upload new content, and it also helps YouTube to push this video to other people. Really helps the channel grow. So with that, I'm ready to begin. If you already know the minor 6 diminished scale and you're ready for more, then you can skip to this point in the video or use the chapter markers. So first of all, what are the minor 6 diminished movements? Well, they are based on the minor 6 diminished scale. If you've seen my videos on major 6 diminished, which I'll link below with all my Barry Harris type videos, then you'll already know that in the major 6 we take the major scale and add the flat 6 to it. And this gives us a whole scale. The minor 6 diminished is almost the same, but what we do is we flat the third every time it comes up. So you'll see we've got the E flat there, and also notice we maintain the A flat. So you could say it's like taking the C major, flatting the 3, and also adding the extra flat 6, not removing the normal 6. It's like the ascending melodic minor with the extra flat 6, okay? So I've added a little plus sign on those extra flat 6s, as you can see. Next up, let's see what we can do with that in terms of finding some chords in it. Well, the minor 6 diminished scale gives us a minor 6 and gives us a diminished, which keep alternating. So even if you're not a reader, you can see the notes up here and you can see the chords that we end up with, just going through the scale with alternate notes. In other words, playing one, missing one, playing one all the way gives me a C minor 6, and then if I do it from the second degree, play one, miss one, play one, miss one, play one, miss one, play one, I'll end up with a D diminished. And if I continue doing that through the whole scale, I'll keep getting C minor 6s inverted and D diminished inverted all the way up the scale. That is the minor 6 diminished scale, a minor 6 and a diminished. Okay, so those are the basic chords we get from it. Next, let's take a look at how we're going to learn that, things you can do to practice it, get it under your fingers. Well, first of all, scale up and down is a great thing to do. When you do this, fingering 1, 2, 3, 4, and back to 1, and then up and down. Well, that was up, so up and down. That's the first thing to get good at. Then you can do things like inversions for all the minor 6 chords, as we showed in that previous slide. So take a C minor 6 and learn to invert it all the way up and all the way down again. And then if you do the same thing for D diminished, inversions up and back down again, then you've got the key ingredients that you need. We could also take the scale in contrary motion, so left hand goes down while the right hand goes up, and just get good at going through it like that. Okay, obviously practice that, and of course in different keys. Everything doesn't have to be in 12 keys right at the beginning. I think this is slightly misleading in learning jazz. It's great if you can play things in 12 keys, but it should be more than one. Don't feel, in my opinion, that you need to learn everything in 12 and then move on and then learn everything in 12. You'll build up as you go along. So let's see what we can do with that as well. Well, moves on a C minor, kind of obvious that we can use the minor 6 diminished. Something I found that people have as a misconception is they think they use minor 6s to move minor 7th chords. It's not really about that. It's more about C minor 6s, okay? And also keep in mind that although this changed later on, in the era when we were playing standards and bebop tunes, I say we, I wasn't born, but before that sort of 1958-ish period, you will hear minor 6s when we're in the key of C minor, so C will be a minor 6. See, that's C minor 6, C minor 6 there, and I'm playing D diminished notes, C minor 6, D diminished, before the chord changes, right? although that did happen later on, minor 7th, even when you're in the key of C minor, and the books seem to do that a lot. If you really listen to standards and the people that I've listened to a lot, and of course studying with Barry Harris, you'll hear that minor 6 is what you play when you're in the key of C minor. Okay, so keep that in mind. Well, next up, moves on an A minor 7 flat 5. Why? Because C minor 6 is also A minor 7 flat 5 if I invert it down. And the good news is, if you learn the C minor 6 diminished movements, at the moment we're just going straight through the scale in chords. There are many other things we can do in terms of moving just, say, the top 2 notes, or moving the bottom 2 notes, or moving through a scale. All kinds of things we can do. It's limitless. But for this video, we're just looking at some basic stuff. Here's a demonstration of moving C minor 6 chords, and in the left hand a scale going in the other direction, contrary motion. And we'll say it's going to be A minor 7 flat 5 to D7, because that's a minor 2-5, okay? To some sort of D7. This could go to G major or G minor, okay? But I'm really just focused today on the A minor 7 flat 5 part. Let's see one more example. Let's take the right hand down from this C minor 6. In the left hand, let's do this. Let's see how that fits together. You get the idea. Okay, so we can get some really nice moves on that A minor 7 flat 5. Earlier on, for example, we were doing contrary motion like this through the scale. If we took that C and then moved apart, we've now got, this is a minor note because it comes from C minor 6. If we move apart, these are diminished notes because they come from D diminished. These are minor notes, so that leaves a spare minor note in the middle I'll fill in. These are diminished notes. I'll fill in these extra diminished notes. These are minor notes. So we could go or something like that, right? So those are the kinds of movements we can apply to A minor 7 flat 5, which are the same as applying movements to C minor 6. Now, a little bit of further study. Well, C minor 6 is also a voicing for F7. So if you study the Barry Harris system, then you'll learn that a minor 6 on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a dominant can be really useful in certain circumstances. So we can actually play some C minor 6 movements on an F7 as well. I'm going to take my C minor 6 here, and let's see, if I move the bottom 2 notes up to diminished notes, they would go here. Now, of course, more advanced students, some people are going to call this a, let's see, an F13 with a sharp 11, something like that. But when you're thinking movements, you're really just thinking about scale. See, if I put those bottom 2 diminished notes back to minor notes, they go here. If I take them down to the next diminished notes, lower down, they go here. So now I'm not really thinking about long chord names. See, that could be a movement. And let's see, on a tune like For All We Know. See, that was those 2 notes moved, begun on the move, and release. So you get that tension release. Let's do that again. They can come in afterwards, or go up a scale, you know? So that's how you could apply something to an F7. And then also, more advanced students, to F7's tritone, to B7. C minor 6 also goes over B7 in the same way. Maybe go to some sort of E major because B7 goes to E, right? Okay, here's one from B7 to E minor, which B7 often goes to. So C minor 6 over B7. I'm going to take the bottom and top notes up to diminished notes. So the C will go to D, and remember our scale, the A will go to B. So that's going to be my first chord. Great. And they're going to give back like that to an E minor, right? That kind of thing. So those are the typical applications for C minor 6 going over C minor, going over A minor 7 flat 5, and some extra study going over F7 and B7. Hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, perhaps you'll consider becoming a Jazz Skills member, where we have hundreds of lessons on voicings, movement, improvisation, tunes, learning strategies, comping, accompanying, everything you can think of. Thanks a lot for watching. See you on the next one. Bye for now.